Alrighty, so I'm excited that I have to teach you less of the basics and we're ready to move on to actually a whole project. So we're still under the creative process and we've learned how to make idea boards to start our creative process, to sort of organize our ideas and collect some inspiration. We've learned how to use our black books just as a resource to sort of practice and experiment and in some cases, that's where we will actually be making our final product. And yesterday we looked at digital portfolios and how that's the place where we're going to present our final works and how we're going to do put our reflections and just show our creative process. So now we know how to do all those things. I can just say, hey, make an idea board. Hey, put it on your digital portfolio. Hey, experiment with your black books. So now we're ready to go. So let's make some real art. The project that we're working on is called a typography portrait, and typography is something just with letters. So let me just show you sort of what we're going to do for this project and just show you some artists that sort of have worked this way. So I'm just going to give you a brief project introduction just so you know what I'm talking about so we can get going on this. So we're talking about a typography portrait. So the idea is that you're going to design a portrait of someone that you admire. Now, before you start freaking out thinking, oh, I can't draw people, please don't stress because we are going to trace an image of a person and add in the letters. So don't freak out if you can't draw faces. It's hard. Either can I. Now, the idea, though, behind that is that the text you choose to put in this side of this person is going to give meaning to your portrait. So that's something that's really important. I'm also going to teach you how to make a stencil online from a photograph, which is something that a lot of street artists do. And I'm going to show you how to use words to create value. And value just means like shading, like lightness and darkness. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to do all of this, and I'm going to walk you through everything, and it's going to turn out awesome. So what you need for this is a pencil, an eraser, a fine tip permanent marker, which you have all in your art kit, a thicker marker, which I think I put in there as well, a ruler, a black book, and a light table. And before you're freaking out because you're not in class with me with a light table, I'm going to show you how you can use your Chromebook as a light table so we can trace some stuff. Okay, so you have everything that you need for this. So just let you know what we're doing for this project and what you'll have done by the end of this project is we're going to do a technical exercise just so you, like a warm-up activity in your black book, just so you know how to actually use letters to create value to make them, things look lighter or darker with words. Of course, we're going to create an idea board. I'm going to show you how to make a stencil online. I'm going to show you how to trace your image and how to add text. And then this is kind of cool. I'm going to show you how to actually paint that image on the computer to make it look really great. And then, of course, the last step is you're going to upload everything to your digital portfolio and put your reflection on it. So that's what we'll end up doing for this unit. And this should take us about a week. Maybe we want a little bit more. Now, the artist that I got this idea from that I was looking at is this guy, and his name is Hansen. And he's a guy that lives in the States, and he does some really neat stuff. He is, just to give you a story, there's a TED Talk video on him, and I'll leave a link if you want to be inspired and watch some of the stuff that he does. But the whole idea of him is he went to art school. He's an amazing artist, and he did very highly realistic work. And the idea is for his stuff, he used pointillism, and that's when you use a bunch of dots to make things look realistic. So for years and years and years of like doing this and working this way, he ended up actually doing nerve damage on his hand. So because he had nerve damage on his hand, he ended up creating the shake in his hand. So he no longer could do these realistic drawings anymore. And he left art completely, and he was absolutely miserable. So he does this TED Talk, which is really cool, and I love for you to watch it on your own. It's called Embrace the Shake. And really his message is, okay, well, how does he keep doing art then? Well, he's going to embrace his shake. He's going to embrace who he is and what his skills are. So he ended up finding different ways to create art, and he worked bigger, and he just really used his creativity to kind of figure out ways that he could still make art that made him happy. So one of the ways that he did this was something that's really, really cool, using words. So again, he still likes to work realistically. Now this piece here is something that's absolutely huge. It's probably about 7 feet diameter, so it's absolutely huge. And what he did is he actually set this up in his garage. So this was this big round canvas that was absolutely taller than he was. And if you look closely, you can see that everything is made up of letters. So what he had to do is he worked live in front of a webcam, and he had people text or call in stories. And with those, he took the text from those stories, and that's what the content of what he wrote to create something like this. So this one's called A Moment. He did something cool a few years ago that we actually got to participate in, which was really neat. So I hope you can see in this picture, it's called Refraction. It's just like a water with 3 birds on it and the reflections in the water. And this piece was absolutely huge. And again, it was something that he worked live in front of a webcam for a period of time. And it's all letters and all words. And the whole purpose of this is he wanted people to call in and tell him their stories of how they overcame certain struggles. And I actually had a student that's absolutely an incredible person that had cerebral palsy, and very brilliant, creative young woman, and but physically sometimes she just had really hard times holding a pen and just controlling with her hands, with her fine motor skills. So we always found a way for her to make art, but I thought this was a really neat opportunity for her. And we actually Skyped in Phil Hansen in our classroom, and she got to tell her story, and her story is actually written up here roughly somewhere. We got to watch him live actually write in her story, and he actually sent her a poster of this piece. So we have kind of virtually met this guy, and he's really cool. He even does the same thing with creating portraits on a typewriter that was pre-computers, if you know what a typewriter is. So he did a whole series of poems and poets. So he did portraits of poets with their poems as the words, kind of making everything up. So he actually is doing another project, which is kind of cool right now. And it's something, if you would like to participate in, you can. And this is the link here. It's called fillinthecircle.com. And I'll just show you what it is. I don't want to find out what's happening. You can take some time and look at some of the stuff that he's done. He's done really, really neat stuff. Now, if you want to participate in this, then please do. It's not necessarily a happy one, so we're not going to do this as a class. But what it is he wants you to tell him about a death that you remember, and you can leave you put your email in there and your message, or you can leave a voicemail telling your story. You can call him and leave a voicemail and write your stuff, and he actually will email you or sometimes text you and say, hey, I'm working on it right now. This is me live working on it. If you want to watch me actually put your story in, which is kind of cool. If that is something that you think you would like to participate in, go right ahead, but of course you don't have to. So we're going to take the idea of Phil Hansen using text. And we're doing this because, of course, like graffiti and everything is all about words, and I thought this would be a good warm-up. But combining portraits with text to sort of create an image. But we're going to do it a little bit differently than Phil Hansen. He writes little tiny, tiny letters to keep, and he puts them closer together to make things look darker, and he spreads them out to make them look lighter. But instead of sort of doing things his way, I thought we'd try it this way a little bit, where we have sort of big solid font and smaller font for lighter areas, because one, it will work better for us when we paint it on the computer, but I think it will create a bigger sort of illusion of make it look like it's 3D. So that's going to be our approach. And again, don't freak out. I'm going to help you every step in the way to make something really, really cool. Okay, so next, for our next lesson, I want to teach you how we're actually going to create a range of value. Again, range of value just means like shading, which is lightness or darkness. How we're going to do that with words, with a really simple exercise. So please move on to the next exercise, and I'm going to walk you through how we're going to do this in your black book.